There we go. Okay, Kuli, over to you.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for joining us. And welcome to this workshop. And I will be sharing with you how I progressed from a diary writer or private scribbler to become a published poet. The steps I was taking, that I couldn't, when I was a child, I was born with cerebral palsy, and I couldn't get my words out, and it was really annoying for me because everything was bottled in my body, and I couldn't express it. And then one day when I was at Penhall School, I met something called a typewriter. And the typewriter was so good for me because everything that I couldn't get out of my system got out of my fingers through words. And that's how I started to write. And then one day I'd written a full book which had all my feelings in, and I met one of my friends at work. His name was Jeff Phelps, and he was a published writer. And I asked him, what do I do with this book? And then he said to me, go to the library and meet somebody called Simon Fletcher, who was a literature officer at that time. This was about 11 years ago. And I joined the writing group, which is the Kuli writing group. And he saw something in me, and he goes, I will mentor you. And he mentored me for 10 years. And through that time, I started, although at the same time I was working for the council, and I was married with 3 children, and everything, I couldn't, it was too much for me, but I still wrote everything I wanted to write. And then Office Press, he got published my first book, which was called Patchwork. And in this book is all my feelings and written down in poetry. So I was going to share with you my poem called The Ragdoll, and I'm going to screen share it with you so you can see it. Can you see that? Okay. The Ragdoll. To fellow ragdolls living with cerebral palsy. Silk, linen, velvet, cotton, wool, made from all sorts. Textured fabrics, buttons, ribbons, hilts made from zips, and whoops a daisy and falling to bits. Her heart is made of golden fluff. Her smile is stitched, shining bright. Now and again she's not there quite. Her spirit shines like ultraviolet light. Droops, dangles her limbs and neck, durable to all types of wear and tear. Broken, damaged, here and there, people stare, she just does not care. Battling, juggling impossibilities, shining diamond sequined eyes, always ready to give you a surprise, like a cartoon she'll always survive. Has trouble with her physical being. Words tangle in the laces of her head. Still figuring out what you have just said. Jerking, jolting to the day she's dead. So that poem I wrote because it's a portrait of me. And what I want you to do now is just to introduce yourself and tell me one thing about your life. So first of all, I'm going to start with Mandy.
Thank you, Kuli, for dropping that on me. Yes, one thing about my life is I am lucky to still have my life, as I was talking to you earlier on, because I am a COVID survivor. And at the moment, that's the most important thing in my life, because I've had to start a new life post-COVID. And I'm not the same person as I used to be.
Okay, thank you. And I will go to Emily now.
Hi, everyone. One thing about me, I am an artist. I'm a painter. That's how I identify myself.
Lovely. Nicole.
I'm a creative. So in all sense of the words, I guess, I do all sorts of art and music and writing. I've just finished my first children's book, and writing is starting to like bloom for me. So, and your poem is beautiful. I'm a veteran special ed teacher in the States, and it's just beautiful.
Where about are you?
The United States in Arkansas.
Oh wow. Oh my god, brilliant. Okay, Suzanne.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, and the one thing about me is that my brain is not like anyone else's.
Okay. All right, Santos. I can't hear you. You mute? Unmute yourself.
Okay, it was all paused as well for a while for me, but it's the internet connection I have. Yeah, what's happening about my life and how I describe myself? Hectic. I do find that I'm running around here and there, and you know, by the time in the evening I sit and I really want to do some writing, I'm too tired, and I'm now re-looking at, you know, when am I at my best, and it is the first thing in the morning, and I may have to just rearrange my life to that, you know, what I want to do is write poetry.
Lovely, thank you. Chi.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm zooming in from Vietnam. One thing about me is recently I really love improvising. So I done a little bit of improvising in theater. I enjoy playback theater, and then dance improvisation. Yeah, this shooting brings me a lot of joy. And yeah, and I play a lot of improvising with word and with sound. Yeah, and
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Kinjana?
Hi, I'm Kanj, and I'd describe myself as an artist, a multidisciplinary artist. I like working in different mediums. How would I describe myself at this point? Very quickly, I'm grateful that I can create something every day. Like Santosh just mentioned, She's learning to rearrange her day to suit her optimum time for writing. I'm too working that out. For me, it's the other way around, Santosh. I've had to flip my day around because I'm just not very good in the mornings. And that's linked to chronic insomnia. It's one of those things I've lived with for a long time. So how do I still create? Because I need to create. I create after 12. That's my day. I have my cup of tea. That's who I am. And I'm so glad I can still create through all of this.
Lovely, lovely. That's really good. And David? Hello, David.
Something about myself. I have 15,000 hours or more into mastering the craft of public speaking and writing those scripts or those speeches, whether it's stand-up comedy or poetry or storytelling. I like doing my own original work, and I've been doing it a long, long time.
That's good. And where are you from?
I'm in Kansas in the United States. I'm from the Philadelphia area, Pennsylvania, originally.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Rosemary? Hello? I don't think Rosemary can hear us. There's a line. Susan? No, never mind. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to think about a very funny incident that happened in your life, like in your childhood. And it can be about anything from falling down, something that happened with your friends or your family, and an outing at the seaside, or a wedding, or even about your own pet. Make a few notes, and I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that.
Kuli, for just clarity, it's just about putting down some words of that memory.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
a couple more minutes. Has everybody got something written down now? Yeah. Now, if you've got something written down and you want to share it with me, the group, please say yes, you want to share it. So I know who wants to share. Okay. All right, and I'll start with Santosh.
Right, I recall an incident when I was a little girl of under 10 in India, and I was very frightened. I've got just words describing how I was feeling at the time. I think I was about 6, 7. So I was terrified, frightened. It was dark and there was loud noises around me. There was siren. I was huddled under a manja, which was it's a bed which you can take on top of rooftops or wherever you want to put. I was alone. My mommy wasn't there. I was unable to breathe. My voice had lost. I heard some like aeroplanes very close to my head, because I think it was during a war with the neighboring country, and it was very warm. I was outside on the rooftop, and I heard lots of shouts, but I wasn't able to open my mouth because my voice had gone. So these are some of the words I just jotted down.
Thank you, Santosh. Anne-Marie.
Okay. Mine was by a brook near to my home, and I was there with a friend and we were exploring nature. We'd been set a homework assignment from school, so we were like looking at all of these things like sticklebacks in the water, the grasses, the flowers, everything, and we got our wellies on. We were like plodding up and down the water, having a look at all of these wonderful things. And then this group of boys came along and totally spoilt it. They were like splashing us with water, kicking it at us, really noisy, just absolutely ruining the peace and tranquility that we had. But then one of the things that we had with us was a magnifying glass. And we just suddenly, all of us, became aware of a smell of burning. And we just sort of got this magnifying glass on the bank of the brook. And we looked and we could see that the light through the magnifying glass was starting to burn a hole in our jumper that was on the bank. And it was just like one of those moments where we all just like went quiet, and it just ignited, but also our laughter also ignited. We thought it was really funny. So
that would make a perfect lovely poem, that was,
it was a very very funny incident that's always stuck with me.
Lovely. Mandy.
I don't really remember much from my childhood, but I do remember that my granddad used to eat a lot of licorice all sorts, basseted licorice all sorts. And I didn't like licorice, but he always had this big tin of licorice all sorts. So I used to eat the pretty coloured bit all the way around the licorice and then put them back in the tin.
Oh.
And then he'd come in and he'd say, she's bloody been here again eating these licorice all sorts. And he used to pretend to chase me, but he never intended to catch me. And it just used to make me laugh. But he never hid his sweets away because he knew that I would always do it. And he'd always pretend to chase me and, pretend he was going to smack me. But I do remember that.
That is a lovely image.
Yeah.
I used to do that too. I hated licorice.
Oh, it's vile. It's horrible. It's a Marmite thing, isn't it? You either love it or hate it.
Yeah. Okay, Nicole. Nicole, have you managed to write something?
Mine wasn't necessarily like one particular incident, but it was kind of like a collection of incidents, like what we used to do during like this kind of weather right now. But we used to sit at the dining room table and we played pitch. It's a card game. It's called pitch. I think it's called Rook too. Anyway, and do puzzles. And we used to have soup and beans, and as a family. And my dad was always really bad at pretending to be a card shark, and like he would talk up his like, yeah, this one's the one gonna win me, So he was always really funny about that. So it was good times when I was growing up.
So, do you think you can write a poem about that?
Yeah, probably.
Good. Okay. Next on my screen is Suzanne.
Hi. When I was about 9, we had a new washing machine, and I've done it a little bit in prose. It's called My Cardboard Box. It was a caravan and a spaceship, washing machine packaging. I couldn't be found one day. They looked and they called, and they looked in the box and found me asleep, safe from the world.
Oh, that is really, really good. You've already made a poem out of it, haven't you? That's lovely.
I loved that box.
That's really nice. Okay, next is She on my screen. She.
I'm thinking about my cat. He's a treasure in my house, and the cat always wants to sneak into my dad's room, and sometimes my dad okay with that, and sometimes he just doesn't let him in because when the cat stays with my dad, and then he can probably pee on his bed. It's crazy. And then one day the cat, by accident, he fell off from the second floor. He was playing around with the window and then he fell off. But just a little bit of blood on the chin, but he's fine. He was fine. But since then, the cat is like, he can have everything he asked for. Now my dad is okay with him in the room the whole day because it's like a little try for him. He was going
Yeah. So did the cat hurt itself on his chin? The cat hurt itself on his chin.
Yeah, just a little bit of blood, but then it's not. It's right.
I hope you can write something about that. Okay. Lovely. Can you're the next on my screen.
Without intending to, I've actually written a poem. I hope you don't mind. It's just come out as a poem, so I'm just going to read it out to you as it is. The mango tree in my garden, imprinted forever in my memory. Scrambling up like a squirrel, aiming for that golden fruit. Climbing up to the point where branches meet in a place of unity. Creating a space to escape away from school and homework, a space to play. With my little sister, a house of our own, a tree house on a mango tree.
Wow. I love that. I love the imagery. Like, it's beautiful.
It takes me back to my childhood, growing up in Sri Lanka, and that's the mango tree there.
And did you have many mango trees there?
We had 3 mango trees, but this one had the perfect point to build a tree house. So we always use that particular tree.
So how old were you there?
We must have been in our 10, 11, 12, that sort of age group.
Oh, wow.
I had my sister who was younger, and I got her into a lot of trouble as a result. You know, she'd just follow me and do as I told her.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, next on my screen is David.
I remember Friday nights, Dad saying we're having hoagies for dinner, and that meant we'd be going to the merchandise mart that was about 10 miles away from the house, and lowbrow mall maybe, or the predecessor to what would have been stores in a mall, were stores with canvases between them for walls, and not quite an outdoor farmer's market or flea market, but regular vendors every week in something called a mart. A good thing for a good hoagie sandwich that they need to breathe in the wrappers, and the juices need to cook together, even though it's a cold sandwich, for a couple of hours. They get better. Because my dad would inevitably run across a friend or somebody that he hadn't seen in a while, and they would stand and just shoot the shit for another hour as I had to hold these sandwiches and salivate all over the bag, saying, you know, Dad, could I get a nickel to play pinball, something? But not, I just had to stand there as a little kid and smell these delicious sandwiches while he would shoot the crap with somebody.
That's great. I loved it. Love the way that you said. How old were you then?
How old am I?
How old were you then? Were you then? In that memory?
Between the ages of, say, 7 and 12.
Okay. So thank you for that. That's really interesting about sandwiches.
That would have been the 1960s in suburban Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the way it looked.
Thank you for that. And the next one is Rosemary. Do you want to share anything? If it's easier for you to say in the chat, you can. If you don't want to.
I think Rosemary's having trouble connecting to the audio from what I can see.
Okay, I saw something on there. Never mind. How about Susan? Susan McCambie? No,
No.
Okay. Now the next thing I want you to do is to try and narrow your words down into a poem. Some of you have already done anyway, but if you think of something else you want to, like, on a different memory, you can do that. but I want you to narrow your words down into a poem. Like, you can do another poem if you want. All right. I will give you about 10 minutes to do that. Is it okay? One more minute. Okay. Has anybody managed to write something? Yeah. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to start with if you want to share your work, I'm going to start with David from the bottom of my screen now.
A real Italian hoagie, no bologna. A roll with a chewy crust. Lettuce, tomato, and onion, oil, vinegar, oregano. All them things, a must. I saved the best for last. An aged provolone and hand-sliced salami. This is gonna be delicious. Boom.
That's a very tasty poem. That's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Lovely, brilliant.
Thanks for the memory.
It's a very vivid memory, isn't it? Vivid, and you can taste it now, can't you? Well done, David. Rosemary can't. No? Okay. And Susan, she can't get, she's not be able to talk either, yeah? Okay, Kanj, have you done another poem or have you done the same poem?
I've actually managed to do another poem.
Oh, lovely, lovely, yeah.
Okay, I've just a little bit tangled up at the bottom bit, but I'll still read. I'll try and untangle it as I read it through. It's called Sunday Lunch. Sunday lunch was always chicken curry, bright red and shiny, the aroma calling us indoors. Amma, what's for lunch? We'd shout, knowing already what it was. Chicken curry, Mum would say, with dal, with golden dal, and aubergine from the garden. Your favorite potato fry too. Oh yes, we'd shout for joy. Wash your hands, Mum would shout from the dusty outdoors. Slippers flung by the door. We race inside to take our place inside at the kitchen table. I didn't get beyond that, but there was more to come. But that's all I've got so far.
You know, there's another tasty poem there, very tasty, and it's very colourful. You can, you know, the way the aubergine and the lentils, the golden lentils, you know, it's lovely. The way I recommend you to, you know, work on that and make it, you know, a better poem. You know, you can do it. Lovely. Thank you, Ken. That was lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, now I think Suzanne.
I wrote two
Yes, go on.
Well, one was inspired by Kanji's mango tree, reminding me of a yew tree in our garden. And the other one is a development of the cardboard box. The yew tree wasn't ancient. He'd been growing for maybe 200 years. He held in his branches the soot and dust of the industrial Midlands. I was told not to climb, so I climbed. Up there, standing on his branches, looking out, the garden became Sherwood Forest, and I was an outlaw hiding in the trees with Robin Hood.
Wow. I really like that. So, is it still there, the tree?
I'm not sure. My parents left there about 10 years ago. It was still there, and we have there was an offshoot of him, and that's now in my garden. So I've got a mini version of him.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Oh, I love it. Love it. Brilliant. Do you want to share the other one as well?
If we've got time.
Yes.
Okay. The box arrived wrapped around the new washing machine. I cut a door and windows. It became a caravan. I cut a porthole in the roof. It became a spaceship. I traveled through space, time, and imagination in a box in the middle of my bedroom, a portal to all the worlds and a place to dream.
Lovely. That's really good. Now, next person is Nicole on my screen.
Shuffle, deal, and bid away. Pitch is the game and the family wants to play. Laughter, banter, and smack talk galore makes for a fun day and great memories for me to store. It's time to dust off that deck, practice the bridge and shuffle, deal the cards for the family needs to hear the laughter and the chuckles. That's all I got to.
Well done. That's lovely. You can still hear the family laughing in your ears. It's really vivid memory that is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Okay.
I advise you to carry on with that poem. It's lovely. All right. And Anne-Marie.
Right. Okay. So I called it a bigger picture. Nature observers, we walked the brook, which ran swiftly over our boots, looking for the tiny and unseen, absorbed in our task. Nature destroyers, they ran up the brook with splashes and shouts. We were drenched by their kicks, absorbing their idea of fun. Then, in unison, we stopped, all alerted by a smell. The magnifying glass ignited our laughter.
Well done. That's brilliant. Such a vivid memory, isn't it?
I'd forgotten about it till you got me to put it down.
Lovely, lovely. And next one is Can Pass on my list. Can you put the mic on?
I've not really given it a title, maybe Sirens in the Night. Here it goes. She looked like a shape of a ball, kneeling face down, arms covering her ears, as the siren sent deafening noise around. No sound she made, held her breath, so still as if dead. Moonless night, only the distant stars seemed to have gone further into nothing. She felt warm heat, her throat held her screams, and she felt abandoned by her mommy.
Well done. That's really, you can feel the fear in it, and it's just as a child, your fear stays with you all your life. That kind of fear, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you hear the sirens, I suppose it brings back those feelings rather than memories. You know.
Yes. Well done. I advise you to carry on with that poem. Okay. And Mandy.
Okay. I'm not sure what it's going to sound like, but here goes. I spy the tin of treasure, the bright colours waiting inside. I hold my breath to lift the lid, to take a peek. There they are, the bright coloured jewels. I looked around to see no one watching, and I take a bite, and I nibble round the edges. And once my need is satisfied, I quickly close the lid. I survived. No one saw me. Until the next time, my pretties.
That's so very good. Well done, well done. I advise you to carry and make it, you can work on that poem to make it, and any one of your poems, if you want to send it to me, I'll put my email on the chat. Okay. And now I'm going to read one of my poems from my new book, which is called A Wonder Woman. And it's called Born Drunk. As I walk down the street, old Asian women began to think. They stared at me, head to feet. She's had too much to drink. Bubbling nonsense, I wasn't torn. Yes, I said, God sent me tipsy, drunk. A party before I was born. Desperate for oxygen, but drank whiskey.
That was very good.
And I'm going to end with another poem, and this is a poem about my wedding day, and then we'll finish the session. Okay. Wedding day. The air carried a spicy chill. On this auspicious autumn morning, I, the centre of attention, dressed in a saffron gold lehenga, which is a wedding dress, in shades of liberty, new beginnings, like the mehndi, the henna on my hands, on a day I thought would never come. In every colour of the rainbow, all guests arrived at the register office to witness our vows. Like a poetry reading, I was bursting, trembling, in happiness, petrified. Could I do this? Could I say it out loud? Was I sure that this was a match made in heaven, just for me, or just an escape? In a smiley daze, hazy thoughts run wild, like clouds of cosmic energy. Could someone really accept me as a wife? Maybe as a sacrifice? I listened to a promise of a man who silently spoke through his eyes. I stood next to him, heartbeat like clockwork, opening a new chapter of life, of caring, sharing, of mutual respect. As the innocent ivory stars draped us together. After the vows had been spoken, I was handed his wedding ring. With a sudden spasm and a jerk, I dropped it. My heart stopped. The room echoed in delightful surprise and laughter. dream. Was this an omen of some kind, or some kind of sign, or was it a taster of what was coming, of what to expect? Now, after a quarter of a century, he still tasted everything that picked up. And I stopped, including myself. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed the session. And I'll pass you back on to Mandy now.
Thank you, Kuli. Good luck for tomorrow. Cully's going to be ordained as the Poet Laureate for Wolverhampton tomorrow.
Today?
Oh, today? I thought it was tomorrow.
No, it's today. It's tonight.
Oh,
tonight.
Well, good luck. Good luck. Thank you very much to everyone that came today and sharing your thoughts and your words. Please, if you want to share, that is, please put them on our Facebook page, Creativity After COVID or C19. We'd love to share them on our end of project video. Thank you again to the Arts Council England for supporting this project and trying to get everyone creative again and helping us find the words. So,
lovely. Thank you.
Anyone else want to say anything? Feel free.
Thank you very
I
much.
have a haiku. I have a haiku I like to use.
Oh,
Okay.
I wrote it for my granddaughters when they started dating, but it might fit here.
yeah.
A perfect evening. Conversation was so good. We left our clothes on.
Oh, that was so good. Well,
Thank you, David.
Well,
You're welcome. Until next time.
Take care, everyone.
Good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.